get the other person's paper. Okay? So, we're going to begin. The title of the message today is Evangelism. And what I'm going to try to do is present this message geared more toward our faith, the Orthodox faith. But overall, the message is about evangelism, and particularly Orthodox evangelism. Okay? So let's go ahead to the table of contents. First, we're going to look at what is evangelism. What's the definition of evangelism? Second, what do the fathers say? Third, a brief historical overview. Next, the 6 biblical styles to evangelism. And that's the heart and the meat of this presentation. The 6 biblical styles. Then I'm going to give my own recommendations to the church, and particularly to you college students and to high school students, on where our church needs to go in regard to evangelism. And last but not least, your style. And what I'm going to try to do is, I'm going to call on some of you to share out at the end of the presentation, if we have time. Okay? So, what is evangelism? The Webster's Dictionary says that it is the winning or revival of personal commitments to Christ. It is the winning or the revival of personal commitments to Christ. The winning. You draw people to Jesus Christ. You win them over. Jesus told his apostles, I will make you fishers of men. If you're a fisherman, right, or a fisherwoman, you have to have bait in order to fish. You can't go fishing without bait because you won't catch anything. And it is the same for evangelism. You have to have bait. And the bait is the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so you're winning people's hearts and minds to Jesus Christ. And you're reviving people to a personal commitment to Jesus Christ. Now that personal commitment to Jesus Christ is not just for yourself, but it is within the community of believers. In the Orthodox Church, we often stress community worship. We stress the fact that all of us have to gather together and worship Jesus Christ, and we have to do it in a community. However, if you yourself don't have a personal commitment to Jesus Christ, then there's no way that you can worship in a community and personalize what you are experiencing and what you are seeing. And if you want to bring people into a personal commitment to Jesus Christ, if you want to win them over, you yourself have to have a personal experience and commitment to Jesus Christ. Okay? So, it is the winning or the revival of personal commitments to Christ. But what do the fathers say? And I put the fathers up there because so often, when we think of evangelism, we think of Billy Graham, we might think of a Pentecostal preacher, we might think of a preacher in the evangelical church. But we don't think of our church being the evangelistic church, the church of evangelism. And for us in particular, if we are bringing people to a personal commitment to Jesus Christ, we are bringing them eventually into the community. And that's what the fathers say. A chief source of our knowledge of evangelism in the early church is the apostolic tradition written around AD 215 by Hippolytus, a bishop in Rome. In this document, Hippolytus reveals the method and content of evangelism in the early church. The method was a process with the support of a community rather than a one-time decision made under emotional pressure. The former process brought a person into Christ and full communion with the Christian community through the periods of development and growth related to baptism. So that's important. Orthodox evangelism is not a one-time situation where someone makes a decision and you personally live your life in Christ. It is that personal commitment to Jesus Christ, but it is being a part of the community. It's being part of the church. You're drawing people to the Orthodox Church. You're drawing people to the body and blood of Christ. So yes, it is a winning of souls. Yes, it is the revival of personal commitment. But where to? Into the body of Christ, into the church. Because eventually, all of this leads to the chalice. It leads to the body and blood of Christ. You understand? Okay, it eventually leads there. And the next portion is evangelism in the Mullingar Orthodox Church. And the reason why I have this, even though it seems somewhat disconnected with what I just spoke about, is because I want you to have an understanding that revival of personal commitments and the winning of souls is a part of our history. Okay, it's a part of our history. The missionary activity of Paramahansa, he brought many untouchable or lower caste people into the church. There are mission churches in Chenganur and Pudupalli, and Paramahansa established these churches specifically for the lower caste and the untouchable. And that's not a name that I give, but it's a name that India gives its people who are marginalized and who aren't who don't have the social advantages that we Syrian Christians have. And so, in the history of the Mullingar Orthodox Church, there has been missionary activity to the lower caste. Then the next one is the Gheevarghese Samuham, and that is the Society of the Servants of the Cross. Now, the Society of the Servants of the Cross, it was founded by Patros Marastatios, and he founded that in September 14, 1924. And it gave leadership to missionary activity. And now what Gheevarghese do, or servants of the cross, what they do is they go door to door. They evangelize. They go to the marginalized groups, the untouchables. They do the evangelistic work of the church. And so we do have history of young men going out and doing evangelism. Growing up in the church, just like all of you, I didn't know that our church had this type of activity. When I found out that our church has something called the Servants of the Cross, or the Society of the Servants of the Cross, that motivated me to understand that our church does have a history of evangelism. Now, the third one is the Mission Society of St. Gheevarghese of India. Okay, the Mission Society of St. Gheevarghese of India. Makarios Didame started that in America. And we do have a mission parish, which is a product of his hard work. And the mission goes out to America. It accepts white people, black people, all types of people to come into the church. So there was mission activity in the North American continent early on, which brought people who aren't, Indian, or I guess brown skin or light skin or whatever you want to call it, fair and lovely skin. So there was that type of missionary activity, and when I researched this, this gave me confidence in my church. And so I wanted you to just get a glimpse of that. What we're going to do now is go into the heart of the presentation, and that is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 4 to 6 and 11. What I want you to do right now is I want you to just read that to yourself. Okay? So you read that on your own. I wanted you to read it on your own so that you can absorb it instead of me reading it to you. So now when I talk about it, you have already read it, you already know what it's about. There are different kinds of spiritual gifts. Every single person in here has a gift from God, right? There are different kinds of spiritual gifts. You have a spiritual gift, I have a spiritual gift, every single person in here has a spiritual gift given by God. Now you heard Father Mesa talk about the dream, right? The dream is not circumstantial, it's not about a situation, but it's the purpose and the plan that God has in your life. Similarly, God has placed within you a gift, and that is a gift of evangelism. But there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but they all come from the same Spirit. For example, Georgie will have a different kind of spiritual gift than me, but he can do things that I can't do. I can do things that he can't do. But they all come from the same Spirit within the body of Christ. So if you're here and you think that you don't have a spiritual gift, a gift to evangelize, the Scriptures say, Jesus Christ Himself says, the Apostle Paul says, that you do have a gift. You have the gift of evangelism. But what we are going to do here today, we're going to tap that gift. We're going to try to discover your gift. What is it? What gift do you have that you could witness and be an ambassador for Jesus Christ and be a real evangelist in your high school, in your college, and God willing, even further than that? There are different ways to serve the same Lord, and we can each do different things. Right? There are different ways to serve the same Lord, different ways to evangelize, but we can each do different things. Different ways to evangelize, but you are the same purpose. You are evangelizing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yet the same God works in all of us and helps us in everything that we do. The different gift that you have, the different gift that you have, the different gift that you have, the different gift that I have, all of it. The same God works in all of us and helps us in everything that we do. It is the Spirit who does all this and decides which gifts to give to each of us. So all of us here have gifts. The Holy Spirit has given you specific gifts, different kinds of gifts. She might not have the same gift as he does, but that's for a specific purpose. Because, as Father Mesa was saying, if we all have the same gifts, we won't be productive. Okay? So remember that all of us have a gift inside for evangelism. So every single person here is called to be an evangelist. I want everyone here to say, I am an evangelist.
An evangelist.
That's true. You are an evangelist. If you think you're not, well, I want you to discover that gift inside of you today. Okay? Let's move to the next slide. There are 6 styles of evangelism. And if you look on this paper, you'll find that. The 6 styles of evangelism. The 6 ways to evangelize. The first way is confrontational. That's the first style. And the example to that is Peter. Confrontational is in your face. Right? I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think about me, or I don't care what you think about the message that I'm giving. It's confrontational. It's in your face. And the example of that is Peter. Peter standing in front of the thousands after he received the Holy Spirit. He was not afraid. He was not wondering what the people thought about him. He had to proclaim a message, and he was going to proclaim that message no matter what. And he was going to go to the ends of the earth to accomplish his mission. So it's confrontational. It's in your face. It's telling you like it is. Okay, there's no regard for persons. There's no fear inside of what you might think of me. I'm going to rush in like a bull and attack, because that is what Jesus Christ has called me to do. And so the person that is the example of confrontational evangelism is Peter. Standing up and preaching the Word of God without compromise. And it's a direct gospel message. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through Him. Do you believe? That type of evangelism is hardcore. It's straight up in your face evangelism. The second one is intellectual. It's intellectual evangelism.